What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Bitcoin and Markets. My name is Ansel Lindner, and man, what a day for price. We're going to take a look at the Bitcoin price and how it's reacted to some of the big news coming out all over the industry with BlackRock and EDX, a new exchange, Bitwise, Invesco, all these people trying to launch ETFs, trying to do copycat ETFs of BlackRock. Maybe pour some cold water on it, maybe look at it a little bit more realistically, what to expect from price. Of course, we'll look at the charts. And then I have a couple clips of Powell because he was in Congress today. I think he was in the House today. I didn't watch the full clips, and I know usually I do, and I'm here breaking that stuff down for you. But I did catch the stuff on Twitter, so we're going to look at a few clips of what he said there, have some takeaways. So anyway, thank you guys for joining me. Check out bitcoinandmarkets.com. Let me share my screen here with the live streamers and share audio. All right, so bitcoinandmarkets.com is the home base. This morning I released episode 353 of the podcast. It is from this Monday's live stream, going over, the fundamentals report, all the news for the week. A lot of people have told me now that they like this, that me going over the report is pretty cool every week. So I'm going to continue doing that. You can sign up to become a member there on bitcoinandmarkets.com and support my content. I appreciate everybody that does support. This is a listener-supported podcast, so thank you to everybody out there. Right now, we are live streaming on Rumble, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and Telegram. So if you prefer Rumble over YouTube, there have been a few bans and a few things of censorship coming back onto YouTube. So if you prefer Rumble, I do have my channel over there. I'm still getting used to posting on multiple places. Right when I have a little bit of a boomer gene in me, because right when I got used to doing YouTube, then they canceled my YouTube. They deleted my YouTube channel. So then I did a new YouTube channel, and I'm starting to go over to Rumble, but still trying to figure out balancing all these platforms. I also just recently checked out Midjourney, because a lot of people are using that for like thumbnails for their videos and things. Haven't quite got that down yet, but I have been tinkering around with Midjourney, making a few different images. We'll see how good I can get at making thumbnails with that. But yes, bitcoinandmarkets.com. That's the home base. Thank you, everybody, for joining me. Hope you're having a good day. It's a very good day for Bitcoin. So let's do that. Let's go right into some charts here. And you can see the Bitcoin price, just some beautiful, come back to me chart. There we go. Just some beautiful, sexy green candles here. I was trying to measure out some of these moves from previously here. Let's go to this move from the bottom, up to kind of these wicks, is a 45% jump. So if we do something similar, which I'm not saying we're going to, but let's just look at where 45% will get us. We're still going. It's up here roughly at, what is this price? 36,000. I have some medium-term targets that are getting closer and closer. So these are targets for end of third quarter, and we're kind of running out of time. But so much is happening right now that it does feel like some of these pieces are falling into place where we could get a massive repricing event. And that's what I have been waiting for. That's what some people that I discuss things with, what they have been waiting for, is a repricing event that does not allow the general public to get in. Okay. It doesn't allow those guys that maybe are waiting for the ETF to put it into their portfolios. That's not going to happen now, because Bitcoin will reprice before that, and we will be all the way up there, say 100, 200,000, and it won't let those guys get in. So that's all of this stuff that we're seeing right now kind of fits in with this general Bitcoiner understanding of how this thing is going to get adopted. So anyway, very nice chart. I will have much deeper technical analysis breakdown coming up this week on the Market Pro newsletter. So if you're not subscribed, that is the premium tier, or not the highest tier on the website, but it is the next one up from the basic membership, and you get all of my technical analysis on Bitcoin. Some of my calls have been almost exactly to the dollar correct. I called that we could see a fake out down to 24,750, and we went down to 24,756. So I was off by $6, but that's pretty much what I was expecting, including a quick turnaround to 28,000. We blew right past the 28,000, almost hitting a new yearly high. You can see this yearly high is $31,035 on Bitstamp. We're not quite there yet, but this is looking very, very nice. Let's take another couple charts like this one. This is ETH BTC. Shanghai fork is there. The merge is there. And I mean, this just looks horrible, guys, for ETH. I don't understand why people are still clinging on to this dying project. What about the next chart? The dollar selling off today, maybe due to Powell's comments, but that low is still holding. And, if we do get a turnaround here, that would be a higher low, like a obviously higher low, and probably push higher. So I am still expecting a higher dollar, even though we haven't seen the dollar strengthen. We are getting, a consolidation in a much higher channel. So let's go to back here. I mean, just look at pre-COVID. We're consolidated from about 2018 through 2020, and we were under 100, okay, between 95 and 100 or so. Now we're consolidating above 100. The dollar is stronger, even though everybody thinks the dollar is getting weaker and the dollar is going away, yada, yada, yada. It's just not going to happen. Let's take a quick look at oil. A little bit up on the week, but still down. Not anything significant happening in oil. Stocks have been selling off today. Let's go to the daily. This arrow was kind of what I'm expecting. I talked about on my Market Pro last week. I said that this could be an area to start rotating a little bit out of stocks and into bonds, because I do expect bonds to outperform over the next quarter compared to stocks. So we will see if this turns out to be. And last thing, I will take a look at the Chinese yuan. It continues to go higher, broke that 2019 high, has not hit an all-time high. This was a perfect head and shoulders. Where's my brush? This was a very nice head and shoulders right here, signaling that top. And the Chinese yuan continues to weaken. And actually, let's do one more chart, because I want to take a look at this and all these lines. Let me get rid of some of these. So I am expecting the 10-year long bonds and even the short bonds to, the bills to start selling off. This would be price rising, where I expect the stock market to pull back a little bit here. Not like enter a bear market or anything, but just it's gone so far so fast. I think it has to come back a little bit. And bonds, it's that time now that the Fed has paused and cuts are being priced in, that I think that we will start seeing bonds falling and prices rising. Okay, let's go back to the Bitcoin chart just to end on that one. Man, that just looks so nice. It just looks so nice. These orange lines, these orange bars are the two SEC actions against Binance and Coinbase. You can see at Binance the first day, major red candle. It fell 5% on the day that they sued Binance. The next day they came out against Coinbase and it rallied almost 6%. Of course, then we sold off, had a fake out lower, and we are going higher ever since the BlackRock and all those people came out with their ETFs. So yes, I want to temper this with, because I was getting extremely bullish this morning, and you guys on Telegram probably could tell that. I was doing a lot of rockets and I was doing a lot of what the heck is happening? So many things are being announced right now. It seems like everybody's just piling in all of a sudden. It could be the fact that this has been in the wings waiting. A lot of people have this conspiracy about trying to Operation Choke Point 2.0, that the big players wanted to push out crypto and come in and take over Bitcoin and stuff like that. I mean, it's possible, but guys, I'm not one that believes in massive collusion out there because collusion always breaks down. Game theoretically, you will benefit. Like if you're willing to be immoral, and collude to hurt your customers and to hurt the market and to, totally monopolize everything and take over, like people say that this big cabal of banks and stuff, that's how they behave. If they're willing to do that, they're also willing to backstab and get that next percentage market share of within their who they're colluding with. They're willing to backstab them. So collusion always breaks down. And maybe for very short periods, there can be some collusion, but I just don't believe that. I don't believe that there is like this big cabal of bankers trying to do everything. Now, how do I rationalize that towards Davos? Because I do think that there is a group of Marxists that is signified by the climate stuff. It's signified by globalization, one world government. Now the BIS has released something talking about a CBDC, and they call it like a unity ledger or something. So that they're pushing everybody to one ledger. And there is those people like that, but that's out in the open. Like they're not colluding necessarily behind the scenes. They're doing everything in the open, and they don't have to have like secret encryption to have secret meetings and talk and all that. No, they have an ideology called Marxism, and they just follow it. It's not that hard to keep that collusion together. It's failing though. It's failing all around the world. And I do expect the whole worry about globalism to be blown over relatively soon. Okay. Relatively soon, like after the fourth turning, right? 5-10 years from now. Let's get into this. Powell speaking in front of Congress. I believe it's the House of Representatives today. And he was asked a question here about crypto. And I'll play it. And I bet you guys know where I'm going with this, but let me make sure everything is up.
Crypto and digital assets in the U.S. has got a market cap of around $1.1 trillion right now.
Come on.
It's been there for a bit. Do you acknowledge that this asset class has staying power in the U.S. economy?
It appears to have some staying power. Of course, that 2.1 trillion what was that a year ago? A lot higher.
Yeah. It's had some volatility in large measure due to the lack of legal clarity. And so hopefully this committee will help that quite a lot here this summer with at least $2 billion.
Okay, then this gas bag just continues to go on. So this is all about crypto. Crypto does not have staying power. This was taken out of context by a lot of people. Bitcoin has staying power, okay? But the question was about crypto, and Powell isn't an expert in this. He knows he's not an expert in this. He's not going to go out and venture. That's why he says it appears to have staying power. But then this guy goes, oh yeah, the volatility was due to lack of regulatory clarity, which is garbage. It's been clear. They're trying to gaslight and swindle us, swindle the public into believing that these things are legitimate when all of these things that they're going after are fraudulent scams. So anyway, a lot of people were talking about this. But of course, this does symbolize that Bitcoin is getting out there into the political sphere. And it's like we've talked about all the candidates that are backing Bitcoin or supporting Bitcoin. Powell is asked about it all the time. Gensler is up there all the time, and this is his big motivation right now. I mean, the SEC, one of the most powerful agencies, this is their full-time concern right now. So this is a very big deal, and we can see that with all these other players getting in, and like BlackRock, Fidelity, this EDX exchange. They see that something is turning, something's about to happen. But also, I wanted to say this in the price section that we can't get ahead of ourselves. It could be a repricing event, but at the same time, I don't know. It wouldn't happen like this where we go up 5-10%. We're going to go up 100% in a repricing event. So we'll see how this plays out with BlackRock. We're still months and months to go, waiting, probably about 3 to 6 months until we hear more about the BlackRock ETF. And in that time, we're going to get more and more CBDC talk, more and more crackdown by the SEC on these altcoins. So we do have a long way to go, and we can't get too ahead of ourselves on this. But anyway, let's go to the next clip. And this one was, I'm going to pause it here. So asked about CBDCs, and you guys know my position on CBDCs is that they're not viable. They're not viable. There's nothing different between a CBDC and what we have today, not in Bitcoin, but in the traditional system, other than surveillance and control. So there's no difference. There's no efficiency gain. There's nothing. And that is even assuming that it's possible in the first place. You know, like what is the point of having a distributed ledger or a blockchain if you can do chargebacks? You have to have some sort of fraud mitigation. That's why the system is engineered the way it is today, because you have the ability to do chargebacks. Now, are they going to get rid of that? No, absolutely not. Bitcoin had to do away with that because it is a commodity. Like there's no chargebacks in gold, because to do a chargeback, you would have to have a central party that would do the chargeback. But Bitcoin is separate. So you cannot have a centralized version of Bitcoin, a centralized version of a commodity token or a digital commodity like Bitcoin is. And there's no, it's just not viable. And it also is pushing this globalist mantra out there. And there's no appetite for globalism. Like I said, it's slowly losing. It's going away. There is no appetite for globalism. But anyway, let's play this clip where he talks about CBDCs.
If the Fed were to offer a direct individual account to citizens, wouldn't this be a direct threat to the financial privacy of many
Oh my God.
Americans?
All right. Sorry, guys. I'm going to refresh this tab. My system doesn't like streaming and playing all this stuff. I'm streaming on multiple platforms right now. All right, let's.
If the Fed were to offer a direct individual account to citizens,
Oh, Jesus.
wouldn't this be a direct threat to the financial privacy of many Americans?
Potentially, and that's why we would not, it's not something we support. We would not support, accounts at the Federal Reserve
Oh my gosh. Sorry for all this
by
buffering.
individuals. That would not be. If we were to, and we're alone, if we were to, support.
Okay, whatever. So what he's saying here is, he said at some point in the future, CBDC would be one that was intermediated through the banking system and not directly at the Fed. This is a topic also that has been coming up lately, and it's a nuanced topic that most people commenting on CBDCs do not get, or they do not touch on. And that is the fact that there's two different types of CBDCs that people are talking about. One is a retail CBDC. That is the surveillance one. That is the one that everyone's scared about, that there's going to be all of this control. The other one is a wholesale CBDC. And that is just, like Powell's saying, intermediated between the banks. The banks settle in this wholesale CBDC, which is exactly the system we have today. So there's no difference. Even the IMF. So some of these, large institutions that are considered high up in this cabal of central banking, like the IMF, they say that most likely a retail CBDC is not viable. Now they're onto this wholesale CBDC. The BIS is still kind of pushing for this, but the BIS isn't like some centralized final boss, which is kind of funny to look at that Augustus Carson, or whatever his name is, the head of the BIS, as this final boss that Bitcoin has to beat. But the BIS is really just a think tank. That's all it is. And just because they will say that they like a CBDC, or they're still working on a CBDC, it just means that those academics are years behind. And we already know this. We already know the academics are years behind. They were poo-pooing Bitcoin. They're still poo-pooing on Bitcoin. They're so far behind. The people that are the most into the research, places like the IMF and the Fed, they know that this doesn't work. And Powell's stiff-arming CBDCs once again. The Fed has done a lot of research on this. Randall Quarles, he was the vice chair, stepped down, 2 years ago now? Maybe a year and a half ago. And he had this great speech tearing apart the idea of CBDC and why it's dumb, why it's not viable. I was just listening to a recent video by George Gammon, the rebel capitalist, and he was tearing apart the BIS paper, saying, "Oh, this is their plan. This is their plan. They're coming for us. The central bank digital currency. How would we know there's no central bank digital currency right now? How would we know there's a switchover from the current system to a central bank digital currency? We wouldn't even know. But we would know because it wouldn't work. If stuff started falling apart, if the dollar started behaving in a completely different way, we would know there was a CBDC, because the way that dollars are printed today, and this is going to be a broken record, the way dollars are printed today is by banks making loans. Now think about a CBDC. How is a CBDC printed? Centralized by the Treasury, maybe? I don't know. It would have to be some sort of bank intermediation where the banks make loans and then they create CBDC tokens in the process of making a loan. So people like George Gammon, they just don't get what a CBDC is. They don't get why it is not viable in any form. So how would we know if a CBDC was launched? Because everything would crash. Everything would get wrecked. All right. So that's it, guys. Let me see if there's any comments. I'm going to pull up the streaming software, go to any comments in here. If you guys are watching on Rumble or YouTube, drop a comment. That helps the algorithm so other people can find the show. This was a little bit off. I was a little bit off today on my delivery here, but let's go back to the price before we. And right now we're sitting back under 30,000. Can't get ahead of our skis here. This BlackRock stuff is going to take a while. There are people front running it. This could be a fact of people front running, or it could be a fact of short squeezes. Once we broke this pattern, once we broke above the 50-day moving average, let's bring the moving averages up. Like I've said, with the 50, there will be this. It's this green line. It's just a huge shelling point. You have to look at technical analysis as shelling points. Once we pass that 50-day moving average, boom, we jumped up, because everyone's different proprietary algorithms and proprietary indicators that they use for trading, the bots, they're all programmed around this, and they started buying. And then what happened to the shorts? They got liquidated and we got shot up. Yes, it is some people probably trying to front run all this stuff with BlackRock and things, but this takes time. It's going to take months. So I'm extremely bullish. I don't think we're going to break down below 25,000 ever again. That is now in the history books. If you haven't stacked under 25,000, you had about 20 hours. And when I was talking about on the report, the possibility of going down to 24,750, I said, yes, and it will stay there for just a couple hours or a few hours, whatever I said, and it will pop back up and it will go straight to 28,000. And that's how markets bottom. Okay. They bottom giving you just a few hours, a little bit of time to get in at that price, and then it's up. So we will never go back below 25,000. I'm going to say that right now. I know that's dangerous. Hodl not has called how many times that we're never going back below certain levels, and now it's become a meme where you just say, "Oh, we're not going below this right when we pass it." But anyway, 25,000 I think is safe in the books, and the next stop is not lower; it is higher, but we can't get too crazy bullish at this time. I just feel that, like Joe Carlasari on Twitter has been talking about this a lot. People are too bullish about this BlackRock thing. And I don't think it's necessarily a done deal. It's the best chance we've had yet. And like I said before, I put it at about 90%, but there's still that 10% uncertainty that the BlackRock thing will get in. There's still all this question around the SEC. That's another thing. I'm kind of doing a stream of consciousness here with you guys, but the EDX exchange that just launched, or is just announced that it will launch, it's with like Fidelity and Citadel and some other people. And they're going to be offering Bitcoin and Ethereum and Litecoin and Dogecoin. So why would they think that Ethereum is not a security? That's how you can also know that this isn't some big effort against crypto and they're going to come in, because these big guys are going to offer Ethereum. Ethereum is obviously an unregistered security. It's going to be taken down. And so EDX, to offer that, they're not in the group then. They're not in the club. Fidelity's not in the club. I thought it was Vanguard, BlackRock, Fidelity, and one of these big wealth managers that run the world. But Fidelity's not in the club. Why would they offer Ether? It's silly. Okay. This is not a big conspiracy. It's everybody just kind of smelling blood in the water. Maybe BlackRock, broke the seal, and everybody is coming out with their stuff that they've been working on for a while. That's a possibility as well. But anyways, I've ranted here long enough. I'm going to stop the live stream on YouTube and Rumble and go over to my Telegram guys and see if they have anything to talk about here for a couple minutes. Thanks for joining me, guys. Check out bitcoinandmarkets.com, and I'll see you on the next one.